Welcome to the Excitable Gentleman, a podcast where we don't have an opening song and we're just kind of figuring it out and doing a DIY situation.
Word.
However, we do talk about, we're the only podcast in the world that talks about pop culture, whether that be movies, television,
music, and
shoes possibly, but probably not, and video games occasionally.
we might actually start talking about shoes because I've been.
I
got some new ones that I plan on getting.
I love shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Brandon.
I'm Denard.
Indubitably.
Word.
So we actually, it's been many a fortnight since, not the game, since we've spoken.
Which, sidebar, by the way, apparently.
About the Fortnite bullshit where they're
it's
saying it's
black
over,
hole.
but then it's not really over because they're trying to advertise the new one.
Well, the thing that bugs me is just the fact that, like, I guess people kind of forgot this is what games do.
Yeah.
Like, at one point in time, it was always supposed to be like, oh, no, this is over with, especially something that's a season-based game. It's like, well, this season's over, but you already know some new. It's like, it's Fortnite. They're not going to close the game off.
However, I will say one thing to the credit of the people not knowing. That game is so transcendently big that a lot of non-gamers may have become gamers because of it. So perhaps they don't know that.
And see,
that's
why I don't think so, because the thing is, like, I was the gamer. I hate Fortnite. I hate the battle royale thing. But I know there's people that play it. It's kids because it's free. You don't have to pay for shit. So parents are never gonna ask. It's if you got a kid that's just like, mommy, can I have this $120 game set for this, that, and the other, or can I download Fortnite for free and you don't have to give me any money to actually play it and I'll be quiet? Most parents just like play the fucking free game.
and fair enough. And although I have played it twice and it did not appeal to me at all, admittedly, I can understand why it does to not even assign ageist, but the younger generation.
I played 2 online matches and then the actual story mode.
Mm-hmm.
I actually wanted to play the story mode, but I could give a fuck. Like, I just hate Battle Arena. Like, I hate that whole thing where I'm going to stalk you around on a map for anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 fucking hours, and I might see somebody and kill them. I might not, or I might just get sniped in like 5 seconds in.
And that's not even taking into account the possibility with PUBG, which could be you play 45 minutes and you're the third to last person to die because you haven't seen anyone.
The best I've ever done in PUBG, I've never won a round, but I've actually gotten second place, literally because I avoided everybody because I couldn't find anyone.
No shit.
So, like,
I got third place, and I think in the totality of my having played it, I killed like 4 people, while having played it way more than 4 times.
I think I probably played it like 15 times, and I might have like maybe 10 kills in total. And that was playing with other people. Like I said, the battle royale thing, it's not anything our age group's gonna play. Mostly, it's unless it's in some shit where like we already bought it. Like we play the ones that we already paid for. So like Call of Duty, I know guys that are our age that pay for that because you pay $60 for Call of Duty. You might as well play the arena mode.
Yes.
But we're not gonna go and download Fortnite, or I got a homeboy that plays PUBG, but even then I think he's stopped because
I like the idea of it more than I like the reality of it.
I do not care for. I'll just tell you the truth. I don't care for games as a service. Like, not for console. It's always been fine for PC because I've been used to that where, World of Warcraft, RuneScape, all that shit, whereas it's been 6 years. We're going to get rid of a bunch of shit so we can put in some new stuff.
Well, that's what's funny about consoles is they're just becoming computers.
Yes.
They're just becoming PCs.
And, like, because, like, all our friends pretty much were all the IT nerds, and they all play the, PC stuff. And that was the bugs because they're always like, well, Denard, you got to get on PC. It's like, my nigga, I was a PC gamer before this was popular with everybody else. Like, I've already gone through spending, $3,000 just to get one game to fucking play.
But that's what's so funny is, though, how it's not even cyclical of just, like, it started off as PC, and then you have video games, and they're just, like, honestly, video games or consoles becoming PCs, it's a logical progression.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's also hilarious in the life cycle of this that it's just coming back around to where we started.
Yeah, it's just that I think people never got the concept of, like, this is how I'd explain to, like, our homeboy Jared, who he finally got me with the PC and everything else from our homeboy Roger. But told him, the whole point of the console is I just buy the game and put it in and I can play. Like, I don't have to worry about downloading a 15 gigabit update, and I don't have to worry about is my graphics card the right one. If not, I gotta go spend another $600 to go upgrade it, and hopefully this will. It's like, no, I paid the $500 so I could just put it in, sit down, play.
You know what that is? That on a smaller level, that's analogous to like buying a Nintendo Mini versus just having an emulator that you create yourself.
Yes.
And gather it all. It's just
like,
you're playing for the convenience of it in one package.
Yeah, like that's where everybody keeps forgetting. It's like, yo, you can get the PC and spend all the money and do everything in the world on it, or you can just be like me and just want convenience. It's like, no,
pay an absolute premium.
Yeah, it's like
I'll
pay $500.
Yeah,
but that means that I don't have to do anything extra. It's like, yeah, that's a lot easier. Grown man shit.
No shit.
But yeah.
Anyway, okay, so we do have topics, which is damn near a first, frankly. But one bit of casting news, which I know you don't know about, came out in the last couple hours. It's related to a topic that I'm so tired of overall.
Okay.
But here we are. Just in general, I'm excited about this project. But it's the Batman movie, starring Robert Pattinson as Batman / Bruce Wayne. But they announced the casting of Catwoman.
Okay.
And question, if you think about the age range of both how he looks and where he's at, Robert Pattinson. So you're thinking about like late 20s, early 30s, Catwoman. Who would you want? As you're making.
Honestly, I can't think of anybody.
Okay, well, this is who you got, and it is Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. You know,
but it's one of those things that, like I said, I can't actually think of anybody else I would want to play Catwoman. So it's like,
I guess you don't have a strong feeling either way, but you know, the person that was in the running who would have been great, and she's already now been in 2 comic book movies, is Zazie Bates, and she was in the running. But her schedule for the upcoming filming of the back-to-back Atlanta seasons prohibited her from participating.
Funny thing is, I don't think I want her as Catwoman.
Really? I think she'd be interesting.
I don't know.
And the other rumor that's been ongoing for the last 2 weeks is that Jonah Hill is up for a role, and whether that be in theory the Riddler or Penguin. So I don't know.
I'll be honest with you. The more I hear about it, the less I care about. Honestly, I told you before, I don't really care about the DC movies much. It's like, I love Shazam, and that was probably the best that they've ever put out. And outside of that, I'm just like, the rest of them kick out. Like, well, Wonder Woman, that was decent. So the rest of them,
I like that movie.
The poster for Wonder Woman had me, okay, I'm excited about the second one, and I'm just be honest with you, that's kind of sad where the poster was like
that poster's badass, first of all.
It is.
I love that poster. And also, I'm intrigued by it, if only, well, in general, but if only because the villain is being played by Kristen Wiig. And I find that fascinating.
That's the part where I'm just like, I don't know how this is going to go.
She's an incredible actor. So I trust that ability to be convincing and menacing. I'm just intrigued by what that's going to be like.
And so that's the thing. She popped up in Mother for a hot second.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's okay, but she didn't do anything for me. So that's where, like, her playing Cheetah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
watch the movie Welcome to Me, and she's great in it. She's very good in that movie.
Okay.
And it's a dramedy, and she's very, very good in that.
And so that might be the thing is, everything she does, for the most part, has some sort of, like, comedy in it. And I hate to say it, but I kind of typecast people after a while where it's like, if all you're doing is comedy,
sure,
you have to bring it, or I'm just like, yeah, you just kind of wasted it, because Cheetah's not supposed to be a funny character.
Oh, no, I don't think she's going to be.
And so that's the thing that, like, scares me, because DC is fucked up a lot.
How about this? And fair enough. Watch Welcome to Me and watch The Skeleton Twins. Skeleton Twins is a great movie, and it's got a dual aspect to it because it's the first semi-dramatic, if not dramatic, role Bill Hader played as well. And so it's kind of a twofer in that regard, and they're both fantastic in it. And the movie's great. So I recommend that. Or Welcome to Me, which is also great.
Okay.
Yep. But my thing is that she's the type of like comedic actor, kind of like Will Forte to me, where they give you so many nuances, even in their comedy, that I'm like, oh, they're gonna be a great dramatic actor too, because they put so much thought into it, and their ability to just as an actor communicate that says a lot to me.
And see, I'll be honest with you, I don't know whether or not I still am kind of doubting it because of the Ghostbusters movie.
Oh yeah, you gotta forget that. I do like that movie, and I'm so annoyed by all the dipshits that are just like women playing Ghostbusters. That annoys me.
And see, that's the thing. Like that part had absolutely nothing to do with.
No.
It literally was. That was probably like one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. It was.
You know what? Still, my thought on that is the overriding issue of that movie is you cast incredibly funny actors who are best in R-rated movies where they can just go unfiltered, unfettered, and they gave it a PG-13 rating, and you completely handcuffed the abilities of so many actors involved.
I don't even think that was it.
For me, that's what it was.
Because, and all the reason why is just because I've seen so many other actors where they did the whole rated R bit, and, they're more raunchy and everything else, but they're still funny, toned down. And
but
a lot
not
of
those
them,
actors.
See, the thing is, though, I think all of them probably could. I just don't know whether or not the writing was that bad, or if it just there. Because Leslie Jones was Leslie Jones.
No,
and she did everything I wanted.
She's the aberration of the bunch.
Yeah.
The reason I say that is because if you have Kristen Wiig, who and that's the one thing off the top of my head, same director, Bridesmaids, R-rated, can just go for it. You had Melissa McCarthy, who, if you look at her PG whatever movies versus her R-rated specifically being Spy, Bridesmaids, the one with Sandra Bullock.
And see, that's the thing for me, Melissa McCarthy movies. Spy was okay. Spy was better than I thought it was going to be. It was better than I thought because when I first saw the trailer, I was like, this is going to be hot shit. Like, just hot garbage. And when we rented it, I was like, okay, it's a lot better than I thought it was. Her movies are very hit and miss. Like Tammy, didn't care for.
Which, again, is the non-R-rated.
What was that one she had with old boy from Arrested Development where, like, she stole his identity and they had to go across the country or some shit?
Identity theft.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, again, non-R-rated.
Okay. Let's see. I can't even think of that many other movies she's been in that I've seen. I know she had a couple of, like, I know she had that one where she was like
there's one, isn't it The Boss, I think it was?
Yeah, that one. That was okay. It was.
The Heat, by the way, is the one with Sandra Bullock. That was R-rated.
That was
same director as Spy. Same director as the Ghostbusters movie.
So, that one. And didn't you say he did Bridesmaids too?
He did.
So, he's two out of 4. Because Spy is good, Bridesmaids is good, Ghostbusters was hot garbage. And what was the other one?
I thought The Heat was funny.
The Heat was terrible to me. I hated it.
I thought there had some really funny moments.
I literally fell asleep on it twice. I finally powered through it, and I was just like, nah.
Okay, no, fair enough.
But, like I said, he's 2 for 4. Like, that's not bad, considering. Like,
look, considering how seemingly impossible it is to get a movie made, let alone a good one against all odds, fair enough. That's a better batting average than a lot of other filmmakers, especially in comedy.
But, like I said, I think it's not that I'm just saying, like, it's going to be terrible. It's one of those things where I've essentially taken to going into DC movies with no expectations whatsoever. It's like,
for the best.
Yeah, because any little bit of hope I have, they immediately crush it and dash it and just like, all right, well, let me just be here.
That's even to your point about Wonder Woman of it's almost inexplicable that they make a good movie, in a way. But then you see Wonder Woman, and then they were like, oh, you love Wonder Woman? Cool, we're going to shoehorn her in very obviously in a lot of shit in Justice League by doing reshoots. And we're going to possibly kill the goodwill we had built up.
And say, like, and you're exactly right, like, they went with, oh, everybody hated Superman. Everybody hates Batman. Damn, those are our moneymakers. Yeah. Well, and again, they're literally the Trinity. That's what they're called in DC Comics. It's like, well, we got Wonder Woman. Let's see what happens.
Sure.
And Batman versus Superman, I said it before, she was the best fucking thing in the
100%.
whole movie.
What's funny is, too, that how they played the themes right before they pop up every time?
Yeah.
And every time they played hers, first of all, that's a badass theme. But second of all, it's like, thank you.
And see, those. And the funny thing is, I love the theme. I just don't like it for her because when they played it in the movie, I was like, "Damn, that's badass."
It's a great sound.
But then when it carried over to Wonder Woman, I was like, "No," because again, it was like this is supposed to be the big, epic fight scene. Oh shit, Wonder Woman done showed up and we didn't expect her to go. Okay, but then like I said, she's supposed to be the love everyone. She helps everybody. It's like, yeah, the heavy metal riff just doesn't seem to go with that. Kind of like Superman being dark and depressing is like he's literally the hope and light of the world. Why would he be depressed? Like. No, it's like he's supposed to be what everybody strives to.
And then when they weren't doing that, they were like, "Remember Jesus figure."
Yeah, so and that's what I'm saying is like you want to be like Jesus, and literally again that's kind of the whole point. But then at the same time, it's like, but you wanted to be this emo kid.
Well, look, my feelings on Zack Snyder related joints. It's well known, at least well known to me. But it he has no subtlety. That's never been his thing.
Sometimes you got to go for it, but
sometimes you just got to get away from me.
Yeah.
But okay, so that's that casting news. Do you have a few things you want to do? Yeah, movie reviews first, not spoilery, but just thoughts. You've seen a movie that I haven't seen. I've seen a movie you haven't seen.
I'll go first since mine wasn't really the one everybody's been clamoring for.
Although, there has been some talk on Twitter about it. Not a ton. Yeah, but it's a Netflix movie, right?
Yeah. It is the Stephen King adaptation of his novella that he wrote with his son.
Okay.
In the Tall Grass.
Yep.
I've read the novella. Watched the movie today. Tell you, skip it. Just read the novella. The main thing is like I have issues with Stephen King just because of his books are way too descriptive.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of those ones where it should have been. Do you remember that show that used to come on like when we were kids called Monsters?
Mm-hmm.
So they used a lot of Stephen King novellas for Monsters and Into the Dark Side. This would have been perfect for one of those quick episodes or even like a 2-part episode for that. So the premise is that there is a brother and sister that are traveling. I can't remember where they're going to, but I want to say they stop in Kentucky for some random stop. She has morning sickness. She's pregnant. And they hear a voice out in the tall grass across the street from a church. So they go into it and they get lost. And essentially the rest of the movie is them trying to find their ways out of the tall grass, but then you find there is a darkness lurking there, like in every Stephen King movie. And
somebody on Twitter equated it kind of to like Cube.
No, that's actually it. It's the same dude that wrote Cube, actually.
Oh, really? Okay,
he's the one that did this.
Okay.
So yeah, if you've seen Cube, you kind of got a gist of a little bit where kind of like this. It's a lot of cerebral stuff. It's still supernatural.
Sure.
But what you don't get is not only is it supernatural, but they do a lot with time travel, which was kind of surprising.
Interesting.
And I'll tell you now, the whole theme of the movie is actually about redemption.
Okay.
So, but the effects were pretty decent, for a Netflix movie. It wasn't really much going on. It's not a ton of action or anything in it, but it's just one of those ones where I was just like, man, you could have cut this down to like an hour and it would have been fine. But nah, it was like I said, it just really wasn't worth it. Like Gerald's Game was really good.
I like that a lot.
Compared to this, Gerald's Game is like watching. It's essentially like comparing Shining to the graphics on the Langoliers.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Which it is funny you mentioned that too. I mean, that's more or less what you have to say about that, right? I mean,
yeah, it's like I said,
it doesn't sound like there's. It's one that's like maybe a Sunday afternoon while cleaning movie.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, without honestly not even giving any spoilers, but the grass itself is evil. There is a giant rock that we don't know where it came from, but that seems to be possessing people. Okay. So imagine Cube and Pet Sematary.
Okay, right on.
That's literally what it is. Okay. And like I said, it's a weird movie because when you get to the end of it, there's kind of like a paradoxical thing. But some of the like I said, for it to be about redemption, there's certain characters where they had their scene where they needed to be redeemed, and nothing happened. But the whole thing was supposed to be that once you redeemed yourself, either you were released from the tall grass, or you went to the other side.
Okay.
Some characters got released that never got any redemption. So that's where it was like, or something happened. It was just like, well, did y'all just kind of forget, or was it one of those things where we've been writing for this long?
It has its moments, but it's not exactly appointment viewing.
Like you said, it's one of those ones where you're cleaning on a Sunday, put it on in the background. There's going to be like 3 scenes where you're like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then you're going to go back to do what you want.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned Gerald's Game. It's written and adapted by, and directed by Walt Flanagan, who also did the series House on Haunting Hill.
Okay.
Or whatever that was. That he has a movie that's another Stephen King adaptation coming out in like 3 weeks. And it's a movie that specifically today I tweeted about that I want to see, and that's Dr. Sleep. I caught the latest trailer because I don't really watch a lot. I watched the first trailer, get a vibe of it, and then kind of go from there as far as what I want to see. Because they spoil too much for the most part, and I get why they do, but still. I unintentionally caught the latest trailer on TV yesterday, and it looks really good. I'm really intrigued by it. Like, I'm optimistic based on his previous work, which I really like, including Gerald's Game.
I was actually talking to a couple of coworkers about it, and I was saying how since Stephen King's actually attached to this one, I'm thinking it's going to be. I'll be honest with you, I don't know if it's going to be as good as what a lot of people are thinking, just because a lot of people don't realize that Stephen King had nothing to do with the original Shining movie that came out,
and he fucking hates it.
Yes, like that. That's why I told my coworkers, they were all like, "Well, it was like, no, Stephen King hated the fucking Shining."
To the point where he specifically did the miniseries on ABC back in the day to
because,
undo it.
Yes,
as a fuck you.
Yes, he hated Stanley Kubrick's version, and he never forgave that man because of it. And that's where I was just like, well, because they were thinking it's gonna be essentially going to pick up right where I was like, nah, because he hated that fucking movie. So that's where I'm like.
And by the way, as a point of reference, this is a guy who talks positively about every adaptation because he's just like, I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah.
And he just wants people to pay attention to the books. And if that gets that, he's all good.
Yeah, like that's literally the only adaptation I've ever heard
and
of
he
him
and
saying,
he goes
like,
from the
I'm
180
mad.
of I'm just happy to be here to fuck that shit.
Yeah.
I'm pissed.
Like, I'm mad.
Yes. Yes.
I'm big mad.
Yes.
Like I said, I've never, and mind you, I've seen some shitty ass adaptations of Stephen King's work.
Look, he was very.
The Shining wasn't one of them.
No, he was very positive about the Dark Tower movie, for example.
Yeah, the Dark Tower, which was
god awful.
Yeah, hell, it does not age well, and honestly, it really wasn't all that well done back in the day. But The Stand,
it ages horribly.
Yeah, like 2 years after it was out, it was just like
no. If you watch it, I know somebody who watched it in the last 2 or 3 years. I caught like a whiff of it after having seen it when it was an event.
Yeah.
When it came on back in the day, it is damn near unwatchable at times.
Well, I mean, most of our listeners are our age that they know, but all the young Thundercats out there, I don't think they knew about the time where late 80s, early 90s, every like 2 years or so, there was a Stephen King event because he always had a fucking special on ABC from It, Langoliers, Tommy Knockers, Rose Red.
Was it Storm of the Century?
Storm of the Century was probably my favorite out of all of them.
What's the, was it Red Rose or something?
There's Red Rose and then Rose Matter.
Basically, every 2 years, ABC was like, "We got another one."
No, literally, that was it.
It before it, that was a miniseries.
Legit, it was every 2 years. It was just, I think it was the first one to start it off.
It was It was definitely the one that stands out along with The Stand.
Yeah, it was it. I want to say it was the Tommy Knockers, then the Langoliers, The Stand, and like it just kept going until I think Storm of the Century might have been like where they started taking longer breaks because Rose Mad or Rose Matter, I think that was the last like ABC one I saw. And that might have just been a movie instead of a miniseries. Maybe. And like I said, that's when I kind of started noticing it's like, oh, we're not doing the events anymore. So like the kids probably don't know, but like that used to be a big deal. Every couple of years they'll start doing some weird promo and it's just like, well, the new whatever from Stephen King.
Well, the funny thing is that the work of Stephen King has been so ubiquitous for so long that there have been many ebbs and flows of popularity of adaptations. Yeah. And we're in another one right now. Yeah. But it was almost like it's almost like the ubiquity of a Bond movie. There was a time for many, many years in a row where we just didn't have Bond movies, and then the wave comes back up.
Yeah, because it was how long? How many years was it
Well,
between Timothy Dalton?
after his 2 movies, that murdered it for a minute, and then you had Goldeneye in 1995.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, how long was it between him and Pierce Brosnan? Because it wasn't like a 10-year time span.
I want to say it was 10 years or less, because that was like 1988 for like Timothy Dalton stuff, and then 95 was Goldeneye.
Was it 95?
I'm pretty sure. Let me Google that.
Because I thought it was the same time around the Nintendo 64 came out. That was like 97.
Googling.
Either way, it was a long ass fucking time.
95.
Okay. No. Damn. Yeah, about 7 years time span. Well, now that I think about it though, how long was it between the last Pierce Brosnan before Daniel Craig took over?
That's a good question. I know, the last one we're talking about is Die Another Day, which was the 20th Bond movie.
Yeah.
That was, to give a context, that's the first movie Halle Berry made after winning Best Actress for Monsters Ball. So that might have been 2001? I'm checking. These timelines all kind of run together for me at a certain point. Because, this is the one that they're making now will be the 26th movie.
Yeah. Which I hadn't even looked into anything of it, and I actually am a huge Bond fan. I'm just like,
I'm excited about the director, Cary Fukunaga. I'm just curious, as a guy who is not great at compromise, kind of notoriously. I'm curious how he's gonna exist in a world where the Broccolis are the producers of one franchise, so they are very micromanaging when it comes to that, and so that seems like a bit of a conflict of personalities.
Yeah, I don't really see it working out too well, especially with all the drama and everything else that comes with a Bond film.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah.
But it is definitely, seemingly, it's Daniel Craig's last movie, so that'll be interesting.
I'm hoping he gets out because, goddamn it,
he's done.
He has to.
They threw money at him to make this one. But they talk about how...
Oh, no, they've been throwing money at him.
Well, that's true. But in this one especially, they've thrown more and more money at him as they've gone along. Because, first of all, those movies beat the shit out of you as an actor.
Yeah.
Like Bond 25, Spectre, he filmed 85% of that movie with a torn ACL.
Yeah, and was it this one or was it Spectre that the door fell on him and broke his ankle?
It could have been all of them. Oh, no, it's this one. Okay. He broke his ankle and they had to shoot around it for 6 weeks.
Yeah, and I was just and like I said, he's tired. He's just I'm sick of this shit, but they keep throwing enough money, and he's all right.
But also, one thing that can't be underestimated is how much stuff he has to turn down because of that schedule.
That too.
And it's weird thing of hey, being a Bond gives you, in theory, a winning lottery ticket. But then think about it's so arduous to film one. A, it's beating the shit out of you, and B, it's killing your schedule to where you can't cash that lottery ticket in and make the things you've always wanted to make. Now, mind you, we say that, and in a month and a half, Knives Out comes out.
Now,
which is getting universally great reviews.
Well, and that's the thing. With Craig, the only thing I've always said this before about actors, really about anybody that's working in any of these industries, is just that I don't mind hearing the complaints. But it's because of that same thing where, Chief, you didn't have to take this role. It's if it was this terrible and it was this bad, just say no, because he's already made his art house movies that he won, like Logan Lucky, Defiant. And it was a couple of other ones that he's made that are not big movies, that were more okay, this is stuff he wants to do.
Part of the one for them, one for me.
Yeah, so it's
paradigm,
and the thing is though, he made a lot of money off the 3 Bond movies before Spectre. So it's just Chief, just stop.
And I get that too.
So I mean, like I said, it's not, and like I said, it's not saying he doesn't have a right to complain. I get it. It's fine. It's just Chief, you got options. That's always been my main thing is don't say, well, I can't do this. Chief, you got plenty of time. All you gotta do is say, hey, I'm not doing the next Bond movie. It's if you're not contracted, then you don't have to do it. Just go make what the fuck you want to. And plus, you got a lot more money.
Yeah.
It's I'm pretty sure you got millions back there. So if you really want to go do something.
And fair play.
Yeah.
But speaking of one for them, this is the movie that I saw, which was Joker. The movie that no one's talking about whatsoever. It's just a quiet film that nobody says anything about. I'm so fucking tired of the rhetoric behind it. About a movie that's ultimately in my opinion.
Mm.
And granted, according to certain Twitterers, this is one of the more divisive movies. You either love it or you hate it, which, I mean, whatever. That happens with certain movies. I personally don't hate it. I just really don't like it.
So let me ask you.
Yeah, we're not going to go into spoilers, but ask whatever, and then I'll answer it within reason.
So was this any different than... I hate to put it like this, but was this the cinema that Martin Scorsese was talking of compared to like a Marvel movie?
No.
Okay, that's all I needed to hear.
It's not. Okay, first of all, I'm going to wade into this dip my toe in and then get the fuck out. And that is this whole thing about, man, what's Scorsese saying about, Marvel movies and people getting their fucking panties in a bunch about, or underwear, getting in a bunch about calling Marvel movies not cinema. This is my reaction to it. Who gives a fuck? Honestly. Who gives a shit? They can both exist in their own worlds. Doesn't matter. The whole comparison, people finding something to be pissed off about. Who gives a shit?
Mm.
I don't. It's a waste of time. And also, the fact that people are getting so defensive over Marvel movies is hilarious to me.
And see,
who gives a fuck?
And
these are Marvel movies. Enjoy them. They are entertainment created by an algorithm. Enjoy.
And see, that's the thing. I don't believe in that. Just because it's not created by an algorithm.
I know. I'm being an asshole. At that point,
but that's that's what I'm saying. That's the reason why a lot of people I got annoyed when he said it. I couldn't care less because I'll tell you the truth. Scorsese is not as good as everybody thinks he is, and I will defend that to the day. Because Taxi Driver, don't get me wrong, it's a good movie, but if I went the rest of my life without ever seeing it, I've never missed anything, and it might have influenced something. The thing is, though, there's a million other things that influence.
So you think
whatever.
it's almost as to say maybe Scorsese's been mythologized to a
Oh no, he has.
I know.
I'll tell you this right now, and you'll hate it, but every director that everybody puts on a pedestal, they don't need to be up there. I could care less about Scorsese, Spielberg, Woody Allen. Fuck Woody Allen.
Oh, that's a whole other.
No. Not because of him as a person. His movies are terrible and they are not funny. And again, I get that you had to be from a certain perspective to understand a lot of it, but they are hot pieces of shit that are like 3 hours long. I could care less about them. Now, granted, that's just my perspective.
Sure.
So that's the reason why I don't go out and shit on other people's stuff, because it's like, I hate it, but if somebody else loves it, boom. That was for them.
Lack of relevance to you doesn't mean a lack of relevance for anybody else.
Exactly.
I got it. Yeah.
But that's the thing, though. Scorsese, he pissed me off with it because it was just, Chief, you're already the legend. You don't need to say shit. And the fact that you say something means that you need to defend yourself, which means you don't believe it yourself. Like I said, it essentially me think he does protest too much. Other words, he wouldn't have shit to say. He's jealous because Marvel movies are, a lot of people are saying, wow, I loved Captain America Winter Soldier. And then somebody brings up something else about a Scorsese film. I don't want to see that. I'd rather go see this.
The implied defensiveness of that.
No, trust me, because it is.
Yeah.
Because like I said, Steven Spielberg hadn't said a goddamn thing.
Well, reminder on this, and we've talked about this.
Yeah.
His defense, he has the defensiveness, the old school defensiveness about streaming. Now, mind you, this is the same man who is producing shit for Quibi, which is a thing that's going to die out quicker than it begins. He has a specific deal with Apple, and he has a deal producing something for Netflix.
Oh, no, that's fine. Because I already told you, Spielberg can kiss my ass with that bullshit, because I told you before the reason why he's upset about it, because it gets more people of color who haven't had the opportunities that he has had to actually get out there, because that's the reason why streaming is doing so popular. Because in millions of places in the world where they don't have movie theaters like we do in America,
it's actually inclusive.
Exactly. Yeah. That a person in Bolivia that had $500,000 can actually make a movie for Netflix and get it put out there, and everybody can see it, compared to just the 600 people in Bolivia that were going to go to the theater. That's why he's pissed off about it, because now he has competition. Like, that's legit it. I just hate to say it because it seems like everything I do is based on race, but it is.
That's interesting.
No, because I told you before, I don't hold them to a pedestal because there weren't any Hispanic, Black, Asian directors or producers that were on that same pedestal that even got the same opportunity. So for me, none of them are great because they haven't had any competition. All they had to do was just play against other rich white dudes with money. But think about it. If Ryan Coogler was back then, So, do you think he would have had the same praise that Steven Spielberg would have got, that a Scorsese would have got, if you put out Black Panther?
No, I'm processing it all.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like
no.
So it's
well,
like
it's that the implication of these are the legends when we don't even know who the
Bam.
full breadth of what
You
the legends could have been.
Yeah, it's like I said, Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth could have been the greatest of all time, but he didn't play with the colored folk.
Yeah.
So for me, Babe Ruth don't mean a goddamn thing because you didn't play with Ichiro, you didn't play with none of the fucking.
Well, but
black
also
dudes.
we don't know the head to head of him playing with Josh Gibson.
And
Put in that context.
That's what I'm saying is you only had this narrow
Gotcha.
region to work with. So for me, none of them are great because you don't have nobody to go against.
It's like winning a hand with a stacked deck.
Exactly.
To put in that.
I said when everybody's handing it to you, it's like, well, you made this one great movie. Oh, fuck, we got to go ahead and give it more. But again, you got other directors, you got other producers that never got the opportunity. So it's like, you're just mad because now you see, fuck, I'm not going to be as great as everybody thinks I am because they got some kid that's 16 that can actually write a script better than I can and can probably find somebody else that can shoot it.
Well, I will say to you mentioned Coogler. Yeah. If we're talking anybody that is the future of filmmaking in this like current quote unquote like crop of them, that's the one. If you were to appoint one, that to me is the one.
I hadn't seen enough of his stuff yet.
He is so talented.
Like I love Black Panther.
Yes.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I'm probably never gonna see. I think he did Fruitvale Station.
Yeah, that's the first one.
Yeah, I'm never gonna watch Fruitvale.
It's very hard to watch just because of the nature of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It is so ominous and like the cloud hanging over the movie of knowing where it goes.
Well, that's the thing. I told you before, like.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Black trauma. We don't go with that. So it's like, and like I said, I'm not gonna see it, but I know it's probably a great movie. But
it is.
Yeah.
But in a weird way of kind of, if you're on the fence of like the degree by which he is a great storyteller and great filmmaker, the weird kind of litmus test in a weird way or judgment is watch Creed and then watch Creed 2.
Oh, yeah, I've already seen it. Yeah.
I know. And I love Creed and I really like Creed 2, but I know they're different movies obviously, but what he can innately do versus that other one, they feel like two very different movies.
I'll tell you. Well, they are. And
I know, but I'm saying level wise.
No, but I mean the reason why though I feel that way is because after watching Creed, I thought that was going to be the start of a new franchise. Mm-hmm. After watching Creed 2, I realized no, this is just the end of the Rocky series. Yeah, because it didn't seem like it was around the same, like you said, the same level. And then when I started getting towards the end, I was like, oh, I get why it's not. It doesn't hit me the same at this point. It was like because this is the ending chapter. Okay. The other one was kind of like it felt like the build up. Like, oh, he's starting to get up there. He might win the championship. He lost, but okay. Next, like Rocky's still around. Next fight, let's see where he goes. And then it was like, well, he got here. Let's see where the end goes.
I will say that one difference too is, to be fair, is that something could be said for expectations. Yes. And that's a whole other thing.
And see, that's what, like I said, I was expecting a whole new series. I was really looking forward to it because, like I said, I love the Rocky series. So this one was like, oh fuck, I get more Rocky, and I like Michael B. Jordan.
Well, and but also though, like the level of filmmaking we were expecting. Yeah. Because when I saw Creed, I don't know if you were there at that free screening. No. After hearing about it, and I was like, oh shit, this is what this is, because again, you had like Rocky Balboa and those other movies which are like, fair enough, it's fine. But Creed is an amazing movie, I think.
Sir, I'll fight you to the death because Rocky 4 is one of the most amazing movies of all
time.
I
wasn't saying that. I was saying Rocky Balboa. Now, is the one with Tommy Morrison, is that 5?
Yes.
That movie fucking sucks.
Nobody likes Rocky 5.
The end scene where he beats the shit out of him up against a bus in the middle of a street.
That was the only Rocky where they didn't actually have a boxing match. They
God,
just had a street
I love
fight.
Your defensiveness. The hand tapping of like, hold on.
I hate that movie.
That movie sucks.
I own all the Rockies. Yeah. That's the only one that literally I have never opened out the box.
Okay, well, fair enough.
But anyway, Scorsese,
Joker. I can appreciate certain elements of it, but the movie felt like it was 5 hours long. It felt so long. There are some very off-color jokes that are bothersome at best.
Okay, so I'm sorry I had to interrupt, but hearing that from you, that the movie felt like it was 5 hours long.
It really did.
That scares the fuck out. Because I'll tell you the truth, I thought about trying to see it today.
It really felt like it was so long.
I'm so glad I didn't.
It felt so long. Not just that, just to give an idea, the trailers are truly like let's get your asses in the seat at least one time.
Uh-huh.
Because they show you a lot of like the Joker money shot stuff. He is Joker in that movie maybe 15 minutes.
See, so we never discussed this, but in my head, I was honestly thinking what was going to happen was the whole movie is essentially going to be built up to why the Joker became the Joker. And then, like, the last 30 minutes, you see him become the Joker. And like you said, it's like for 15 minutes, he's actually in costume. But I'll just tell you now, I thought some of the stuff they showed in the trailer was
They showed you all the money
the
shit.
ending sequence. Because there was a scene with him getting, like, hit by a car and him running away from some stuff. And I was like, this ain't in the middle. This can't be in the beginning. This has to be the end of the movie.
It's more closer to that than not, for sure.
God, yeah. So
And it's a lot of the payoff. There are some, like, confounding musical cues.
was there an after credits
No.
or okay? I know they did. So let me just ask you, not a spoiler or anything, but I heard there was a rumor that there is a connection to Batman in the movie.
There is.
Okay, that's all I need.
Yeah. I'll just say that there is.
Okay, I was just wondering because
It's the annoying part is that there's some stuff in it that there's like a moment that happens. It's supposed to be like a oh shit moment, and I just thought that was the way it was. Meaning, so when the quote unquote twist of sorts happens, I'm like, well, yeah.
Okay.
So in part, I'm like, and I talked to somebody else who saw it,
Uh-huh.
and then she was also like, yeah, I just thought that was the way it was the entire time.
Okay.
And so that was again like, and not even by the way like knowing that something like that would happen. It was just like, yeah. So that is a thing, and it's all.
See,
there are other elements to it that coincide with it. There is a character in the thing that is truly serves no purpose. The entire movie, by the way, doesn't have to be a Joker movie. You could very easily keep it from being a Joker movie. The reason they did it is they want to have their fucking cake and eat it too, and they want all the IP and all of your emotional ties to the character to get you the box office. It's a money grab.
and see, that was the reason why I asked if Batman was connected to it anyway, because we discussed this.
Didn't have to be.
I think either the last episode or the episode before that, where we even talked about, and matter of fact, I think I actually made that point, was Scorsese said that this has nothing to do with the comics, blah, blah, blah. It's in the comic book movie. And I was like, then why name it the Joker?
First of all, separate Square. He has nothing to do with this.
Okay.
He has nothing to do with this. The only reason he was an executive producer at one point is because he was thinking about directing it.
Well, I'm glad.
Before any of this. And then Todd Phillips.
What's Todd Phillips said it's not a comic book movie?
Yeah.
Then
Todd Phillips is saying this. Todd Phillips, this is part of this is potentially coloring my opinion of the movie. I legitimately do not like the movie. And I can tell you why, but I don't want to give stuff away. But there are, of course, I think they're valid, because it's my opinion. But what I see to be reasonable, valid reasons to not like it. And the whole, like, Taxi Driver and King of Comedy stuff, it is like, it's not only like influences, kind of like in a Tarantino way, it's like taking themes and things whole cloth from these movies, which anybody can do. I mean, in theory, anybody can do. But the whole Todd Phillips thing of like, this isn't a comic book movie, it's so much more than that. No, this is what I still legitimately think this happened. And something came out today unrelated to it that made me think it's even more accurate. I think what happened was Warner Brothers has a noted history of wanting to keep filmmakers in-house. So they will do a lot to keep them happy. This includes, for example, Christopher Nolan. We're like, what do you want? And we'll make it. And prior to the whole Live by Night, I think it was, debacle with Ben Affleck, writing, directing, producing, and starring in that gangster movie.
Oh, yeah, I forgot all about that.
They were like, to him, they were like, what do you want to make to keep him happy? And that movie blew up in their faces, and that's what ended up becoming the fallout from Batman not happening. Because it's like he overextended himself.
Yeah.
And then that never happened. They love pleasing filmmakers. And so you have Todd Phillips, who made the Hangover movies, made Due Dates, made War Dogs. These are movies that had either massive success to, like, making money. But they want to keep him happy. I think what happened was they were like, look, we got DC stuff now. Is there anything that interests you? And he's like, Joker's interesting. And they were like, do whatever you want. More or less. And the thing that came out today was that James Gunn, who is currently in production on Suicide Squad 2, he said that they said to him, "Hey, what do you want to do? Whatever you want at DC." And he chose Suicide Squad because that interested him the most. So it would not surprise me if they did the same shit
But see, the
with
thing
Todd
is,
Phillips.
but see, the only thing is though is that it's DC. So, and I'm just saying this because I know you don't know, but they have a huge catalog of stuff where literally, if you didn't want to make a superhero or supervillain movie, they have a ton of characters.
Oh no,
that are like that. So that's what I'm saying.
Oh no,
like,
just so I know. I
well,
understand.
it's
You're
just
saying
like,
it's not like crazy for that to be a reality.
No, it's saying that them giving him free license is just essentially him really just fucking up because it's. I wouldn't put on DC just because if they say, well,
okay.
here you go, just whatever you want to work on, and he's like Joker, have at it. For him, likely what I'm thinking they did was have at it, and they were thinking, oh, you actually like the Joker, you know what the Joker's about. So we're gonna do a movie because, like I said, James Gunn knows about Suicide Squad because Suicide
I'm just
Squad
saying
is
there's a certain level of free reign that Warner Brothers would do to pacify certain filmmakers than a lot of other studios would do.
No, and I agree with that. But that's what I'm saying is I think they did that. You're right. I think they did with the Joker, and there's like, oh no, we know you do work, whatever. Just go ahead. We want to keep you here. Do whatever you want to do.
By the way, he made this movie, in a way of like, it's like this isn't a comic book movie. And so he went another direction with it.
And see, that's what I'm saying is they gave him the reins, and that's where I'm saying is like DC thought, okay, you know what it is. If you don't want to make essentially you picked the Joker because you knew about the Joker. You want to make a movie about the Joker.
Yes.
If you want to make, like you said, whatever this was, it could have been anybody.
Truly.
It could have been. They literally could have named it Brando.
Yeah.
And it could have starred you, and it would have been perfectly fine.
And I would have done it, and I would have been a goddamn movie star.
But that's what I'm saying is like.
No, I know what you mean.
It's like,
and the movie though, it's almost like it felt like they shoehorned in the things to justify the Joker movie.
No, that's exactly it.
Yeah, and just as easily as you added them, you can take them away.
Yeah, because like I said, that was the reason why I asked
wanted
you if Batman
that
was in
sweet
it.
IP and that name recognition.
I think what it was is he just got mad because he knew that. Granted, Joker's probably one of the best ones, but he's never going to compete with a Marvel movie.
No, it's the Scorsese element of he's getting defensive about a thing he's keenly aware of.
Well, that and since Scorsese is attached to it,
like
I said before, I have a legend attached to me, so it must be great work. If this isn't cinema, then my movie must be cinema.
And he's clearly riding off his coattails in many ways, if you watch the movie. But whatever. I do need to rewatch it, but I have no desire to do that anytime soon. So that is that. Okay, where? How much time? How deep are we?
We're at 47.
Okay, we can go a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Okay, I have options for possible topics, which is the thing you should probably do prior to the podcast, but who gives a shit? Now, I have something here. Here's a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not like scary movies?
I do not.
That's right. Okay. I can't keep up with certain friends of mine where I talk about a lot of stuff and who likes what and doesn't like what.
I don't like scary movies, but I will watch them or I will at least get the script to go through it.
Because I was going to ask you if you do you feel in October, Halloween month, do you watch any scary movies at all as part of? No.
No.
Because I've been watching. I've been getting into it kind of organically this year, and I've watched a handful of good movies that I recommend.
Okay, tell me some of those. I used to do the low budget B movie, horror movies during October, but I gave that up because they kind of quit making.
They become a parody in themselves.
Yeah, like
they've been co-opted by people consciously doing it. Versus the thing about a B movie, I think, is they're great because they're trying to be earnestly good, and they just become funnily disastrous.
Yeah, well, either they were that way or they knew from the jump. It was like, damn, we only got this much money. We can't make that great of a movie. Fuck it, we're just gonna have fun with like Puppet Master, like all the Puppet Master movies.
Yeah, fair enough.
None of those are great movies, but they're all fun.
But they've become meta now.
Yeah,
and they're winky.
And see,
and they're made to be though.
Well, they were until I think because they stopped. I want to say it was like Puppet Master 6, and then Full Moon went out of production. I think somebody else picked it up. So whoever took it over from Full Moon.
And even before that was Chucky.
Now, Chucky is a very interesting topic, though.
Okay, well, that's a whole. I know. I should not have opened.
Well, no, it's just
Pandora's
because
box.
there's that. No, just because that is one of the only IPs I know that actually has 2 current franchises.
Well, yeah.
That rebooted itself. So that's why I'm just like,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I should have known that Chucky could have been 45 minutes later, and that's fair enough because it is really interesting. Weirdly interesting.
Yeah, that the original guy that made it still has it and is still making movies.
Almost releasing on top of each other.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Like, I think he said that the next one he plans on making around the same time that Universal or whoever is it Universal to put out the last one.
I don't even know. I haven't even seen it.
But
I know what you're talking about.
I'll tell you now, it's terrible. Do not watch it.
Yeah.
It was an app.
Yeah, that's what. Okay.
Yeah, like I tell you now, crazy voodoo man is way scarier than my doll with an app. Went crazy.
No, that's fair enough. And where it's like an AI element, right?
Yeah, like yeah, it's like throw the motherfucker outside and run him over. You good?
That's fair.
Yeah.
Which is terminated via app.
Yeah.
Terminate remotely.
Yeah.
The one movie I saw on Netflix, The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Oh, that was actually a really good one.
I really like that movie.
Yeah.
It's a movie where I felt like 90% of it was really good, and then it's kind of like, it's always tough with the ending, and which I think was fine. Not quite the level of the other movie, but I do like that movie. Brian Cox co-stars in it with Emil Hirsch. I really like that movie, and it's a good one of those contained movies.
Yeah, that one's everything's for anybody who needs a synopsis, a coroner and his son are working at after hours
in a family business.
Yeah, some cops drop off a body that is a Jane Doe
through mysterious, questionable circumstances.
Yeah, they don't know how she died, but the body seems to be perfectly fine. And then as the night goes on, mysterious stuff happens.
And it's really good.
It goes real crazy. Shit hits the wall.
I really like that movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another movie I saw, which is on Amazon Prime, The Hole in the Ground.
That was the one about the kid that.
Yeah, it's from this year, 2019, Irish supernatural horror movie. It's not amazing, but it's very well made. I liked it quite a bit. I also saw Luca Guadagnino's, I think that's his pronunciation, Italian director. I know he made Bigger Splash, which is a great movie. He made Call Me by Your Name, which I love that movie. And this is his 2018 adaptation of the Dario Argento movie Suspiria, and it's really interesting.
Okay. Actually,
it's definitely slow burn, kind of like psychological, like takes its time, but it's very interesting.
Suspiria's on Amazon?
It's on Amazon Prime. Yeah.
No, if you actually haven't seen the original Suspiria, go watch that one and then go back to watch this. It's a lot stranger than what you're going to be expecting,
and this one he definitely goes his own route with it, and it's really interesting.
Yeah, like I said, I don't care for horror movies, but that one was at least one I could appreciate.
Yeah.
It was a little weird, but it was weird in a good way.
I also saw, just rewatch because I haven't watched it in a while, Rosemary's Baby, and it's a movie where it's like, oh yeah, that's a classic for a reason. It holds up very well.
Honestly, I don't think I've ever watched it. I want to say I have, but I can't remember.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Which means I'm probably never going to watch it.
And the movie is 51 years old.
I hate Amazon Prime.
1968. Anyway, I also watched Ghosts of Mars, the John Carpenter movie, and it has no redeeming value.
Ghosts of Mars is fun.
It is not.
It is.
I don't.
It is a terrible movie.
I can't. I want to.
But it's fun.
You know I love John Carpenter. I can't do it.
Matter of fact, I think that was actually supposed to be a franchise, I believe, because he was supposed to do. I don't know if y'all know, but the Apocalypse trilogy he had was The Thing. What is that one?
Ghost of Mars was originally conceived as a possible Snake Plissken movie.
Yes, but they had talked about turning that into essentially a whole other trilogy because he did. There's 3 movies that he did that like don't seem like they're connected. They're all supposed to be his Apocalypse trilogy, and then he was supposed to do Ghost of Mars as like a, not necessarily apocalypse, but like a, I guess, future dystopian trilogy.
And it does have like the future dystopian, like kind of westerny thing that he has.
now that you say it's kind of weird because it is kind of like Escape from New York
Well,
a little bit, but supernatural.
But it does have it's that thing where if you give it more time than maybe he did to think about it, you're like, okay, I can see that. And it also has the kind of classic neo-Western vibes, like a lot of his stuff, including, John Carpenter's Vampires, had that vibe to it.
I think that might have been it. That there was supposed to be another vampire movie that connected
Keep
to
in mind,
Ghost of Mars.
Lest we forget, they had a straight-to-video sequel, Vampires: Los Muertos, starring John Bon Jovi.
I've actually seen that one.
I'm annoyed that I have that in my head.
I'm mad because now that's going to be stuck in my head too. I love it though.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the movies I've been watching. I'm going to watch more horror movies, including, speaking of John Carpenter, Halloween, maybe tonight. I just need to rewatch that movie.
Have you seen the newer John Carpenter? Well, not the newer John Carpenter, but the newer Halloween.
Yeah.
The one with Jamie Lee Curtis.
I really like it.
Yeah, that was actually a really good one.
And they're doing back-to-back. They're filming them back-to-back now.
Yeah.
And they're filming right now.
Yeah, because I was kind of surprised with the way the first one ended, and I was just like, oh, okay. And then as soon as I heard they were making another, I was like, oh, all right.
That's a movie where, the reviews were good, and I was excited about it, and the trailers were really strong. And then I watched it, and it's the deeper we got into the movie, I'm like, God, this is so clever. There's a lot of good stuff in that movie.
Okay. Well, since we're talking about the horror thing, if you really want to go through, because The Thing is my absolute favorite horror movie of all time. But
I rewatched that 6 months ago. It holds up so well.
It does.
It's a classic.
It'll never go old, especially since they use practical effects.
100%.
But for Halloween, if you want to get a good, essentially, trilogy, The Thing was the first. Prince of Darkness was the one I couldn't think of.
Okay.
It's a little bit different, but I really liked it. Still kind of creepy. And then In the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah.
Now, that is
which they're adapting into a miniseries, I think.
Yeah, and that one is a little bit Cthulhu-ish. Let's say anybody's in H.P. Lovecraft, which, fuck H.P. Lovecraft. But,
dude,
yeah.
Sam Neill is great in that movie.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, the movie's great.
I'm a big Sam Neill fan.
It's terrifying.
Yes.
But, like I said, if you want some good Halloween movies that are classics, those three. Because you got to remember, John Carpenter loves fucking practical effects. And if you want some good horror shit, you can't go wrong with either one of those.
Yeah. Also, and this is not tied to that trilogy, but a movie of his that is great that I actually rewatched again like 6 months ago is They Live. The movie's great. Roddy Piper.
Oh, yes.
That movie's great.
Number one, that's where I got the line. I've come to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum.
It's a great line.
and
also,
yes,
he's actually pretty good in that movie. And John Carpenter shit really holds up well.
I'll tell you, yeah, there's certain people that's where I said before, it's not the shooting or whatever, it's actually like their writing.
Yes.
Because if you go back and watch They Live and The Thing and everything else, like production wise, you can see some terrible stuff.
Yeah.
But god damn it, like for this many years, the fact that people are still arguing whether or not Kurt Russell was he normal or was Childs the normal one?
Yeah.
And like I've been waiting on that for years.
Well, he is a guy like, and we talked about Rosemary's Baby a minute ago, that some directors are just innately modern, quote unquote modern directors, and part of that I guess is that they are unto themselves. Which, and there are some directors, by the way, or writer directors that specifically do not include references to today in order to make their films kind of timeless.
So I don't know if you ever heard it, but like Q-Tip put it in there. It was in Low End Theory.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember what song it is. I can't remember the title right now, but he even says that he goes, this was in 9 Trey. So it's saying 93. It was like, oh my bad, I'm not supposed to say the years. And it's like you don't say the years because it keeps it in propriety that no one can ever say it's old. No one can ever say
it's not dated.
Exactly. It's like no, this can go on from now and go on to infinity because we didn't put a date on it. So it's like
there's a reason he didn't have a song called entitled Crystal Pepsi.
Yeah. But although I will say that we're still playing, Prince's 1999, like it isn't Well, 20 fucking years.
Keep in mind, we're talking about he's an alien.
So, yeah. God bless him. Miss him. But yeah.
R.I.P. But yeah, I mean, there are certainly exceptions to every rule. Do you want to do listener questions?
Yeah, we got a few more minutes.
Yeah, I don't want to overstay our welcome too much. Okay. This is, do you want the random one or the movie one first?
Well, throw them at me.
Let's do random one.
All right.
What is your worst public restroom experience?
The worst.
While you're pondering, let me say that one that I have. Funny thing is, when I read this question, the first thing that came to mind wasn't even my story. It's a mutual friend story about, I don't name names, but you'll figure it out if you don't already know the story. The tale of going to our local notorious dive bar and being pretty drunk and going into some of the worst goddamn bathrooms you've ever seen. Terrible, terrible, terrible place. Just, the worst. And this was, long enough ago. It was a phone that had a stylus. And when he drunkenly, kind of swayingly went to the bathroom, dropped the stylus in the pits of hell that is the toilet. And he had the thought of, do I get the stylus or do I write the stylus off? And I know my answer, and that is, bye-bye stylus, I got a new one. He got the poo stylus.
Yeah.
And then we had that joke from even years on about how disgusting that was.
Yeah.
And even the look of shame on this person's face, even after they know they made the wrong choice, of like, it's the Ruxin, forever unclean. It comes with that.
No, that is forever unclean.
Yeah. A disgusting human being. Not really, but God. That's what I thought of.
I think probably my worst public restroom experience was, so for my 25th birthday.
Oh, buddy.
Somebody of ours, they took me out and they took me to the strip club. And we had a VIP experience, to say the least. But at one point, they got me on stage, tried to strip me naked, and all the girls got up and decided to go ahead and take my underwear off of me. But they essentially gave me a wedgie. But they could not break the elastic band. So then I had to go to the bathroom so I can go and actually take those off the free ball. And mind you, I'm main event drunk, which if you don't know, main event drunk is very bad. Never want to be main event drunk no more. We're too old for that shit.
You cure as many stories of the night as you can remember them.
Yeah.
Probably disproportionate amount.
So from the little bit that I remember, there was a dude that threw up and some of it landed on my right shoe. There was a stripper that walked into the bathroom with a bloody nose. Don't know whether she got into a fight with another dude or another stripper. And there was a bathroom attendant, even though the bathroom stall looked like the same one that was out of Midtown where said friend dropped the stylus. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. We all know it's Midtown.
He knows who he is.
Yeah, we all know. But
garbage-ass human.
It looked kind of like that, just not as bad, which is saying a lot since
yeah.
it's a strip club.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember after the puke hit my shoe, I was like, fuck it. Took the underwear, balled them up, threw them behind the toilet, and went back out to the stage.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I can't beat that. I'm not even going to try to compete. I can just visualize all this stuff because I know the exact place you're talking about. But anyway, thank you for the question from Dick Killjoy. He of the Dune Boys podcast, a podcast about Dune. And our second question.
Is it really about Dune?
Yeah.
Okay, that's great because I actually love Dune. So.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you got to listen.
Hey, boo.
It's it's Jeff and Dickie Killjoy, two very good guys that host it, and it's an awesome show. And I say this as somebody who's never read Dune, but I'm very much looking forward to the movie.
Yeah, I'm a huge Dune fan. For anyone that's out there,
oh yeah,
I haven't read all the books, but I've read at least. I probably read at least like 7 or 8 of them.
It's been on my list for so long. I need to just go ahead and read it.
Actually, if you haven't seen it, there are some sci-fi adaptations of a couple of the Dune books. I believe it's Children of Dune.
Yeah,
and
that's the one with James McAvoy in it.
Yes,
that's from Sci-Fi.
Yeah, but some of those sci-fi ones actually were really good.
I've heard that that's actually good.
Yeah, like I'll tell you now, Dune is literally like one of my top favorite sci-fi movies of all time.
No shit.
Yeah, like I
dude,
watched it when I was 6, and it's literally every time it comes on TV, I will shut up.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Fuck, I would hate Amazon Prime. I got it on DVD. Don't matter.
Okay, fair enough. Our second question.
Okay.
And this is a possibly a thinker, but I think it's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And this is from a friend of mine on Twitter, Christy Yamaguchi Main.
Okay.
And the question is: are the universes of Ex Machina, Blade Runner, and Westworld connected? I would say I like the idea, having thought about this a little bit, the idea of Ex Machina retroactively being grandfathered in as possibly an Eldon Tyrell kind of precursor of the early stages of the Tyrell Corporation and what it becomes. I like the idea of that. Or it just being the precursor to the technology that led to that.
See, the only thing is, and I'll just tell you now, I always, whenever we get these questions, because I'm the huge nerd, in my head it pops in like the Alien vs Predator thing, where like as many people like do that. That's kind of where it's like started out from, because it was just, well, we have this, but then it's the Weyland-Yutani, and then it's, well, Weyland-Yutani popped up here.
Well, then it's the ripple effect, the reverberation of the canon.
Yeah, so
and that's where my brain goes of like trying to really think about this.
So you said it was what, Ex Machina?
Yes.
What were the three? Ex Machina, Blade Runner, and
Westworld.
I would, if you take out Blade Runner, I would be more inclined to it, just because.
And I can see that.
And it's just because the way that Blade Runner was with the whole replicant thing, and you didn't know whether or not they were. It would take too much time for.
Well, the irony of it is like the
Ex Machina already developed that.
Yes.
Where you couldn't tell whether she was human or not.
But with how good and fleshed out both the original Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049 are, it does make it harder to fit those puzzle pieces together.
Yeah.
But
I like the idea.
I know, I do too.
But like I said, I would like it more where essentially take Blade Runner out of it, or just put Blade Runner aside for the second.
It's a more logical progression between those two movies than including Blade Runner.
Yeah, because the only reason why is just because the way I can see it playing out is I don't give a fuck. Ex Machina's been out too long. If you hadn't seen it, I don't care. But
spoiler alert.
Android gets out.
Yep.
That's the whole thing. You can't tell the difference between her and a human.
Which, not for nothing, plenty of parallels with Westworld.
Yes, well, that's the whole thing is she. So the way I'll just
especially
tell you now, I would write it. Is
by the way, with the trailer for the latest season of Westworld,
I hadn't watched any of it.
Very similar.
So the way I would write it essentially is that the events of Ex Machina happen. You know that the android got out. Well, android has to survive. Android has to have money. What are we going to do? And she already knows that humans exploit other humans and exploit other things.
Adapt or die.
Exactly. Adapt or die. So she gives Bernard and everybody else the idea for Westworld. She helps them build the technology because she knows it all. She gets money. She disappears off into the sunset because I got it now. I don't need to be around. I'm set up. And then that leads to everything with Westworld, where she's already autonomous. They haven't gotten to that point yet. Where we see it in season 2, oh shit, we have autonomy now. We know what the fuck's going on. We have sentience.
Well, I like the idea of. I know there are more people to it, but what if Anthony Hopkins' character was a replicant, or was himself AI?
Now that's why I was saying setting it aside was just that the way that Blade Runner will fit into
AI,
it.
not replicant.
No, I mean the way that it will fit into it is that Anthony Hopkins' character from Westworld, or somebody else in Westworld,
sure.
essentially saw the whole thing where they figured out that, well, the android is perfect, that they're going to take over for us because they don't need us. So instead, he built in obsolescence, like with every other technology. So that's where you have the whole replicant thing where, well, we want them here. We need them. They should be around, but we don't want them to take over everything. So let's make it where they're going to die.
We'll give them an expiration date.
Exactly. Yep. So like I said, it can work out very well. Sure. And I think that, like I said, I think it's great. It's just
I love the kind of the, for lack of a better phrase, the thought experiment of stuff like that.
Yeah, and see, I think the only reason why it bugs me because a lot of people do there was one that came out where John Wick 4 is going to be connected to the Matrix 4, and it was like, no, it's not, because it's stupid. It's like
I know that. Well, that's where it becomes so insane. I'm like, you can enjoy these individually.
Exactly. Like, not everything is a shared,
By the way, the only
connected
through line
multiverse.
there is that you got you got Keanu Reeves.
You got Keanu Reeves
and
you
also
got
you
Lawrence
have.
Fishburne. No, legit. That's the only thing they said.
Well, no. Well, I mean, okay. Well, I was gonna say.
No, I mean in the article that was legit. There was their key factor
well, that's
was
just lazy.
because Lawrence Fishburne was in John Wick. That they were like.
And by the way, the reason he was in John Wick because they were like, hey, you want to be in this movie again? That'd be fun to work together.
Legit. That's
only it.
Yeah.
At a party, literally, that's it.
Mind you, he said that on TV.
Yeah.
Was just like, oh, how are you gonna? Oh, I saw Keanu. He was like, hey man, you want to work together again? He was like, yeah.
And he was like, what about this? And he went, that'd be fun.
Yeah. And I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
But for some reason, people saw those two in there like, well, oh, and it was when they said they were making the John Wick 4, and he's supposed to be starring in it, and it was like, oh, what they're gonna do a Matrix 4 too. They were saying that. So the theory was supposed to be that they went into essentially the end of the Matrix 3. Since Neo died, he didn't technically die. He got rebooted in the Matrix as Mr. Wick.
Yeah.
And that this whole, all this crazy shit that's going on is just another computer program.
I'm
eventually
dying
Lawrence
inside
Fishburne's
just
supposed to
thinking about
go.
this
And
shit.
like I said, that's the kind of stuff that I keep
But you know
hearing.
what that is?
So,
This is the result of, not to be overly cynical, but websites having like a 5 posts a day minimum for writers to get clicks.
oh yeah.
And
I
this
mean,
is the type of shit you invent.
Well, it's everybody thinking that they're going to actually sit there and, I hate to say it, it's just like us, but everybody wants to be a critic. Everybody wants to have some sort of fame. So it's just like, well, let me go out there and put something out. It's like, sometimes you just need to keep it to yourself. Like,
What'll get the people going.
yeah, it is like.
But by the way, this is why Reddit exists, though, too.
Essentially, this is why like I don't care for anything on Screen Rant because it's all the same shit. It's like, did you know about these top 10 superheroes that are in this movie that you never like? Bitch, I didn't know about the fucking superheroes because nobody gave a fuck. Like, did you know about?
And by the way, did you know about this thing that even the creators don't know about because they didn't intend it that way?
Yeah, it's just like, but yeah. I was trying to think if were there any other questions besides those two? Yeah, we need to start getting some more questions. I like the questions.
I did it admittedly kind of a nonchalant off the cuff thing, but thank you both, honestly, for the questions.
Yes.
And thank you, old Dickie, for the question. And again, Dune Boys. Dune Boys.
Was that the one that was that the first or second question?
That was the first question.
The first question. Okay.
Yeah. So that is of the Dune Boys podcast, co-created, co-hosted with Jeff Gibson, both of which people follow or mutual follows on Twitter.
Let's see.
Yep.
Oh shit! Yeah, I'm gonna have to go ahead and subscribe because I might have to holler at them about some Dune shit.
Yeah, and I think they'd love to hear from you.
Word. I will eventually have a post on Spotify that will be shared to the page. I have essentially mix one of the shoe playlist, so that will be dropping in the week.
Oh hell yeah!
I'm still working on mix 2 and 3, but yeah, I plan on releasing one for every season. So yeah, we'll put out the spring mix next year for the Cortezes. So,
oh yeah,
yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, like I said, we keep everything in rotations around here. But was there anything?
We had more stuff, but I feel like we're.
I was trying to think. Was there anything actually coming out that either one of us? Because I'll be honest with you, I haven't even thought about any movies in like the last 2 months outside of Joker, and even then, I wasn't interested really.
Well, I will say like movies coming. We've got what 2.5 months left in the film year, quote unquote.
Is there anything?
So here are some movies off the domicile that are coming out. One, Parasite, a movie that just came out in New York and LA. Also is the biggest limited release. Like per screen, it averaged like $120,000 a screen, which is the most since La La Land. So that's interesting. And the movie is from the gentleman who made Snowpiercer and a billion other amazing things. Mother, The Host.
I hate fucking Mother, but The Host is great,
dude. It's so good.
If you haven't seen The Host,
that movie is so good.
And I think that's on Hulu or Netflix actually.
Yeah,
it's on one of them.
Yeah, and he also did Memories of Murder, which is a phenomenal movie. Dude, he's a master filmmaker. I am so excited for this movie. That's one. There is the movie The Lighthouse that stars Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. Very excited about it, from the filmmaker of The Witch. Very excited about that. December, you have Uncut Gems, the movie by the Safdie brothers starring Adam Sandler. They made Good Times, which is a fantastic movie. And if anybody is like anti-Robert Pattinson, watch that movie. For real. He's amazing in it. That dude can act his ass off.
I could care less about Robert Pattinson.
That's
So
fine.
that's what
I'm telling you. Watch that movie. It's good. If not great, it's great.
No, never mind. That was another movie. For some reason, that was Daniel Radcliffe. It was one where they were in Amazon. I think it's actually called Amazon.
Are you thinking about Last City of Z?
No. It was like no, they were like stuck in the Amazon. Daniel Radcliffe was having like hallucinations, but yeah, that wasn't him. It was some other guy that looked like him.
So yeah.
Oh, there we go. I was trying to think of what was coming out that. Zombieland 2.
Yeah, that comes out a week from now, I think.
Is it?
Week or two.
God damn. Okay.
Yeah. So that's coming out. There's also Knives Out, which is universally praised and kind of an Agatha Christie-esque murder mystery with Daniel Craig, Michael Shannon, Lakeith Stanfield, Jamie Lee Curtis, Chris Evans, a lot of others. They're not coming to me. I'm very excited about that.
Actually, I was trying to think of the movie.
Scorsese's The Irishman.
Isn't that already out?
No.
Okay.
But it's coming out. It's in theory going to play in theaters. It's also on Netflix. But the reviews are very, very, very good. And I'm actually extremely excited about that.
Okay. I was trying to think of... There's only one movie I could think of that I actually want to see that's coming out towards the end of the year.
What's that?
It is Queen and Slim.
Oh, hell yes. They actually did screenings of this. Kind of more of like friends and family screenings. And, of course, it is friends and family, but they raved about it.
Yeah, that's... Honestly...
I'm very excited about that.
That's probably like the only movie that's coming out that I'm actually been like kind of excited for. I know the Star Wars movie's coming out, which is Star Wars.
I don't give a shit. Yeah.
I'll
see it, but I'm not excited
I'm kind of looking forward
to
seeing the end of the Skywalker legacy.
Sure.
Like I think that's more of it is I just want to see how this is going to end.
I would say I'm more intrigued by it than I would be if it was the middle movie in the trilogy. That makes sense. I want to see how they, to your point, I want to see what they do to wrap it up.
Like I said, like the second one they could have just not made. Be honest with you.
We have very differing thoughts on that movie.
It did nothing.
Well, what's funny is that a majority of this movie, or at least some level of this next one, is going to be an undoing of what was done in Return of the Jedi, The Last Jedi.
I can't remember which one it was. It's
The Last Jedi.
It should have been. But yeah, like I said, I'm kind of glad because that was just a waste.
Like, I really liked it.
I thought some of the space shots were fine, but story wise, I was just like, what's the fucking point? Like I said, I still, again, just got to say this. Why do you have to wait like 6 hours to tell everybody the fucking plan when the plan was literally just, I'm going to crash the fucking ship? Like, you could have did that shit a long ass time ago. But we're not going to get on that. Yeah.
This just makes me think of Prometheus.
Yeah, that's the same
Stupid
shit. Just
fucking movie.
You run to the left. Don't keep going straight, bitch. You see the shadow coming down. Just veer. Like, understand.
Arguably, the only movie that annoys me more than Prometheus, or like a comparable amount, is Alien Covenant, the movie made after it.
You know, I honestly don't know which one I hate more.
Hate in my heart for both of them.
Like, I legit don't know which one I hate more. Prometheus is stupid, but they're just as stupid.
Okay, I don't want to go into... The reason... Those movies are so cynical.
Yes.
So cynical. Because they do the shit of, like, here's a smart reference, and then in 3 seconds,
I'm going to
tell
do
you
the stupidest
exactly
shit
what the
ever.
fuck it is.
Oh, no. It's not even that. Well, I'll tell you now. My problem isn't that. It's we're going to give you this smart reference, and then we're going to have the geniuses not do the genius shit. How am I going to have a fucking bot that maps out the entire system, and then we get lost in the cave because we don't use it? But this is my one job. Like,
you know what? I will say that in terms of like the self-indulgent elements, at least in Alien Covenant, it got to the point of self-indulgence that Michael Fassbender played the flute or whatever, and then kissed himself. It was like an ocarina, maybe?
I know, it was a flute.
Was it a flute? Okay.
Yeah, it was a flute. And
okay.
That one, too, was We landed on the planet that we have never been to before,
Here's-
and we don't wear any spacesuits or helmets or anything.
Here's an obscure Mary Shelley reference. But then, don't worry. We'll tell you that's what it was very shortly.
Or the alien that comes out looking like Jesus.
Jesus pose.
Yeah, like, yeah. We're not going to get on this because then it's just going to make me mad. Then I'm going to be mad. And
I can
Scott.
feel getting. I can feel myself getting annoyed.
yeah, so it's best to go ahead and end things here.
Yeah.
All
Let's
right,
not murder all the goodwill
yeah.
that we may or may not have built up over the course of this episode.
Yeah, because, I like shitting on a lot of stuff. So fuck them.
Look, I already dodged the bullet of my Zack Snyder agita and anger, of which I have considerable amounts of both.
Yeah. Well, that was fun.
I like the road, like, we're not making eye contact,
Right.
cranky, breathing heavily with that little pang of adrenaline at the end of it.
Yeah, I guess both of us are like,
Yeah.
yeah, and a little bad taste in my mouth, these motherfuckers. What?
Anyway, at Inquisitive Dick for me on Twitter. I know you always forget to remember what it was.
At Black Market Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. BLK_MKT
I think so.
_ Jesus.
Yeah.
Will be changing soon though. So yeah, I gotta find something new.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't do the Black Market Jesus no more. Do Black
The
Market
fact that
Satan.
even that you say it and you have a confused look on your face, like, how did I get here?
Oh no, no, I love the name. It's just
Yeah.
no, I don't bang with it no more. I gotta find something new.
That's fair enough.
Black Jesus came back also.
Yeah.
But yeah, I ain't watched it.
And now Boondocks is making a new season.
Which can't wait. It'll be on HBO, so this will be grand. So
Yeah, that's HBO Max.
is that the one you gotta pay for online?
Yeah.
Is that included with HBO now?
I don't know how that's gonna work. I'm not sure.
God damn it! If I gotta pay for,
But they are shelling out major money for that stuff.
I might end up having to end my HBO Go or HBO Now, so I can do the HBO Max. I don't know. We'll see. However, this fucking
HBO Go.
subscription-
Yeah.
Yeah, they all got my money.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks. That was a good one.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.